What's up? What's up? Let me do a couple of things real quick as I set this up. Oh boy, here we go. So what's up, everybody? About to kick it. Give me a second because there's a couple of things I need to do. All right, this is looking good. Let me pop out the chat. Makes I'm able to make the chat room bigger. Here we go. Just boot it up. There we go. Let me make sure this gets tweeted out. This is kind of a ad hoc, out of the blue live stream. But we're gonna kick it. We're gonna make it work. If y'all could do me the favor and retweet this out, if you don't mind, I would truly appreciate it. Stuff like that. But anyway, welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. It's your boy Puertorock77, your only friend in these YouTube streets. Coming back at you with another live stream. I just want to shout out the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you guys didn't wait too long, but I truly appreciate you guys taking the time out and rocking with me. All right. I want to say happy Father's Day out there to all the dads out there in your kids' lives in one form or fashion. You know what I'm saying? Being a positive role model and doing the things all fathers need to do, to ensure the success of our children, stuff like that, right? My daughter's back in the States, so sadly I couldn't spend time with her. But she's back in the States, studying to be a nurse. I'm really proud of her, and all that stuff. So she's doing her thing. So I'm really proud of the woman I raised, So here's just an easy Sunday. I got work tomorrow. I really didn't want to do anything in terms of like going out and eat and stuff like that, because later on in the week, I'm going to go on vacation. Me and my wife, we have a trip to Italy. So we're going to be 10 days touring Italy. So I'd rather just put my focus on that. So today I just wanted to chill, play some games. And I'm thinking, you know what? After seeing some stuff on Twitter, I'm thinking, let me do a live stream, spread out some good information out there and stuff and things to talk about. All right. But besides that, I hope all of you are having a great weekend. I hope you're enjoying the summer so far. I know some are out of school. Your kids are out of school. You may be out of school, out of college or whatever. And I hope you, enjoying your time gaming or doing the stuff, whatever you're trying to do, maybe you guys are working on summer, doing interns, whatever you're doing. I hope it's positive, and I hope you're having a great time, and I hope you're enjoying the start of summer. All right. Thank you so much for those in the chat that wishing me happy Father's Day. Shout out to all of you. You guys have been a huge supporter of my channel and stuff like that. And I truly appreciate it. All right. So we're going to kick off real quick. Let's just kick right into it. Again, 52 people watching. Again, please hit the like button and retweet this out. And we're going to kick it off. So we're going to first start off with, we're going to get right into it, Michael Patcher. So Michael Patcher apparently made a crazy prediction that the PlayStation 5 will be $800, right? So I read two articles about it, and it could be looked at one of two ways. He could either have meant that the PlayStation manufacturing cost will be $800, or he could have meant that the PlayStation 5 will launch at the price of $800, okay? In my opinion, I'll say this. I'll address the first statement, the first outlook, because it seems like the most not I'm gonna say logical, but it doesn't sound insane. All right. Sony potentially releasing or manufacturing the PlayStation 5 at the cost of $800. Okay. That would mean that if this is how much the machine will cost, it comes down to how much of a loss Sony is willing to eat up in order to push out, next generation power to really get ahead. I'm not going to say this console war fight of having the most powerful console, but at the very least, is that the price to manufacture the PlayStation 5? Is that the price necessary to truly bring out the hardware necessary to, how would you say, actually bring into fruition or to actually push the technology necessary to make next generation of gaming relevant? Does that make sense? Is that how much manufacturing wise the consoles are going to cost? in order to get the right technology in the box to properly push next generation, because if they try to go cheaper manufacturing, maybe it's not going to be that much different than what we got, maybe a little bit better in terms of more native 4K games, but then truly to push this ray tracing, SSD, all that good stuff. And again, this is manufacturing, not price. I'm talking about the first thing. So I want to make sure everybody understands my point. I'm just talking about manufacturing the platform, meaning Sony spending $800 per unit to build the PS5. At that point is how much of a loss are they willing to take? My guess, if it costs $800 to build it and they sell it at $500, you're talking about $300 per unit loss. It's possible, very unlikely, because that is a lot of money. Because you think about it, if Sony sells 1 million consoles, right, which they're going to sell 1 million consoles, hell, within the first couple of days, you're talking about $300 million loss right off the bat, right? If Sony, think about 1,300,000 million, right? If Sony sells 10 million consoles, that's what? A billion? What's that one? Let me do the math. At $300 at a $300 loss times 10 million, you're talking $3 billion. If Sony sells 10 million PlayStation 4 consoles, if Sony sells 10 million PlayStation 5 consoles at a $300 loss per console, you're talking $3 billion in loss. You know what I'm saying? In order to just match a $300 loss, you would need one PlayStation subscription at $60, right? So that's now you're down to $220. So 64 games. So that means each PlayStation at a minimum would have to be accompanied by one PlayStation Plus subscription and the sale of 4 games. And to be honest, I don't even think that equally pans out, because let's say if the games are multi-plat, Sony gets a 30% cut of the games. It's not like they get the full cut of the whole game. So that might not even pan out. So I don't think Sony's manufacturing a $800 console, because they're not going to sell it for $600-700. That's where point 2 comes into play. Does he mean? And somebody brought up controllers. That's a good point. At least one controller. The second point, PlayStation 5 launching at $800. That's just asinine. That is a complete asinine statement. All right. Console gaming, as much as there's a few of us who want a powerful platform for at a minimum 60 FPS frames per second gaming at native 4K, yeah, you have many of us that are like that. But the majority of console gamers are not like that. All right. Once they hear PlayStation 5 is $800, that's it. Majority are not even going to ascertain or look into why the console is $800. It's not. It's already dead. It's DOA. They're not even going to research online. They're not going to look at what PlayStation 5 brings to the table. All of that doesn't matter. Only the most hardcore of gamers are going to purchase this. But the problem is, you're going to be so few and far between. The console sales are going to be a disaster, right? And once you have console sales that are a disaster, guess what also plummets? Game sales. The console won't have a lot of good game sales. The games are going to sell very low, very poorly. If the game sales are poor and low, that puts third party nervous, because third party don't like to support low selling consoles, which games don't sell. So now you're talking about which, platforms, third party developers, publishers, what games they're going to put on. I could imagine the big ones will still support it, the Activisions, the EAs. But what about, the Capcoms? They may not put the next Resident Evil because, again, to support a platform with that low sales may not be in their best interest, or Sega might pull back Yakuza. They'd be like, God damn, You're barely selling anything. We really can't trust to support the PlayStation 5 with Sega games, How a console sells is very important to the industry, especially to game sales, because that's what you do when you own a console. You buy games. If the console don't sell, the games are not going to sell. If the games don't sell, third-party industry gets nervous, and they start prioritizing other platforms that sell better. They're not just going to just keep making PlayStation games just for the sake that it's PlayStation. That's not how it works. So Sony has to balance out whatchamacallit, the sales of the console with being able to sell games. Now, somebody put in, yeah, but 1K for a phone. Well, let me ask you something, Devil Shooter. Which you think is more highly important to the consumer market? People who are into phones or gamers who are into PlayStation? All right. I'm willing to bet, even as us, as console gamers in general, we have our phones on us more times than the console. Everywhere we go, our phone's with us. And what do we do with our phones? We have applications for games, right? Besides that, if you play, but we use it for GPS. We have Instagram. We connect with our families. We record videos and take pictures, right? We have productivity software, stuff like that. We do bank transactions. I bought my house and did 90% of the paperwork over my phone. In fact, when I first bought my house, 2013, I saw my house on my phone in Japan. And then I coordinated with the realtor saying, hey, we're going to be back in the States around this time. We set our appointments. Good. I saw the house. We went, visited. Boom. I went back to New York, and this was North Carolina. I went back to New York to visit family. The realtor was sending me paperwork over email. I did digital signature on my phone, filled out the paperwork, sent it back to her, did the loan, all that stuff. The only actual physical paperwork I had to do was the actual stuff with the lawyers and stuff like that. You can't do any of that stuff on a console. A phone is more than just an entertainment device. It's literally productivity. I pay bills, I monitor appointments, stuff like that, do stuff for work email. So you can't. So when people say, oh, but a phone is $1,000, a phone for a lot of people is their life. They manage so much stuff, appointments, medical, working out, paying bills, teleworking. I mean, it's just consoles don't do that. A console's only going to do one thing: entertainment, gaming entertainment, and passive entertainment. Passive meaning you watch movies, either Netflix and other apps, and then you might listen to music. That's about it. You're not buying no app. You're not buying no house on it. Okay, you can't go. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing that. And I'm sure there's an internet YouTube browser or internet browser, but it sucks and it's slow. These things has app. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna have my trip to Italy. I did all on my phone: plane tickets, hotels, car rentals, map my routes. So really, my phone, right? Everything I'm gonna do in Italy, everything I planned is here. All the tickets that I purchased for the tourism and certain attractions is here. So yes, I'm willing to pay $1,000 for a phone. It's literally productivity. Consoles ain't productivity in any way. So now you can see why people are willing to spend $1,000 on phone, because it's more than just an entertainment device just to watch Netflix. You literally, a lot of people manage their careers on a phone, and some people, if you lose, like right now, if I lost my phone, you're talking about a device that has access to my bank account, it has access to some of my investments that, for IRAs. It has stuff that I do for work on there. It has photos beyond the amount. And I'm not just talking about trophies, families, all that stuff. Do you get it? So that's why I never like the comparison of, well, people are cool with buying $1,000 phone. Why can't they be cool with buying $1,000 console? Again, you're not buying a house with a console, and you're not taking pictures of your firstborn kid with your console. You see what I'm saying? So there's huge differences, So that's I want you to consider that. So whenever gamers compare phones to console, really look at what people are doing with these phones. And phones are an amazing productivity device that you take anywhere, and stuff like that. I noticed I saw some things in the chat with the Marine Corps. I just noticed it. It's the Marine in me, but I saw it. Who said that? Okay. Would Japanese devs drop Sony? They did before for a little bit. Remember with the PS3? Because it was selling terribly. Where did majority of all the JRPGs go? It went to the DS. The Japanese industry shifted from console primary JRPGs to handheld primary JPs. DS got a ton of JRPGs, and for the first 3 years or so, PS3 was hardly getting any. So yes, because again, it doesn't matter if it's a Sony or PlayStation platform. If no one's really buying the console, then the games sales will obviously suffer. There's just nobody on the platform to buy the games. So you have to look at it that way. It's not the name. It's the consumer that buys the platform. If the console sales suffer, then who's going to be around to buy games? If no one's really buying the console sales has to come first because that's what you have in the house. Then the game sales come after. Make sense? You're not going to buy the games with no console in your house. Let's see where we're going to. Let's see. Okay, I see Army. Nice, but I did 4 years. Oh, Heath Steven, you did 4 years in the Marines? All right, Semper Fi. There you go. I knew I saw something with Marines. Also, most people don't buy phones at 1K. They make payments on plans. That's another point, Like, for example, some phones, they give you deals. Like, if I know it's rare now, but back in the days, you used to sign a 2-year contract and you get a reduced cost, or you could trade in your phone, you get it cheaper. There's a lot of ways to get your phones at a cheaper price, And then there's now, like my daughter, she has the iPhone plan where she can upgrade and she trades in the phone. Like, so she pays an extra $15 a month, right, on her bill. And every year, as long as nothing's wrong with the phone that she has, she just turns it in and she gets the new latest equivalent model, but the latest model, But she's paying, I think, $15-20 a month, for this plan. So she just trades in her iPhone every year and gets a new one. She just swaps it out, P-Rock, as a Marine, how realistic is the new Modern Warfare? Well, I heard conversations about this. I'm going to tell you something. No game will ever be realistic to being an actual in the military. It's just not. It just doesn't work that way. All right. It's just a reality. That's about as much as I could put. That's about as much as I care to say. But understand, no game will truly ever be a realistic simulator to the thing. You understand what I'm saying? Shooting is a lot harder than it is on console. I'll just put it that way. You understand what I'm saying? Granted, you could be good at shooting, but a lot of shit you see in a video game is not realistic at all. Ain't nobody quick scoping, 10 feet away on a right sniper rifle, But anyway, so moving on. So we got people up in the room again. Chat, thank you so much. Happy Father's Day. All right, 140 people. So anyway, so PS5. Let's talk about the second segment. Actually being $800. Completely silly. Complete silliness. All right. Again, the console, the first priority of the console, it has to sell. It has to be reached. Now, I get it. I think we hit the point where the console is going to, I see likely now there's the potential that the PlayStation 5 will be $500, right? I could see that now. I think $400, as much as I would like it to be $400, the vision that Sony has for their console, besides using, because let's say this, they're using Ryzen CPU, right? Which is an extremely huge jump over the Jaguar CPU. Extremely huge jump. I mean, just the point, Jaguar CPU was a crappy tablet CPU. They're actually using an actual console, platform equivalent, PC platform equivalent CPU. So that jump is going to be immense in terms of for gaming. And that's good for us, right? El Matador, $5 super chat. Que lo que, Puertorock, dime, manín, keep bringing the truth and killing these bots. You know what I'm saying? That's all I try to do for this channel. Provide accurate information. Appreciate it, Matador. Gracias. All right? Gracias, mano. All right? Thank you for good looking out. Let me close this weird shit here. All right? But thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for the super chat. All right? So, Ryzen's, that alone is a huge jump, okay? And then, of course, the consoles are going to be pushing Navi, which is the latest, or at least close to the latest GPU architecture that's coming out from AMD, which is an amazing jump in and of itself. Rumors have it they're going to be GDR6. I think, and not so much rumors because these are the most common things out there now, so it makes sense to have this stuff, right? But the biggest surprise is Sony talking about SSD and trying to push game rendering to just faster limits. And then this new 3D audio that went to implement, that's going to come at a cost. So I could see PlayStation launching at $500, vice the normal $400, right? Look at, I think it's just inevitable, Again, I would love it to be $400, but I think $500 is the mark. Now, what does that mean in terms of sales? It's going to be hard because, again, the console launches at 2020. A lot different than 7 years ago. Remember, PlayStation 4 launched 7 years. By the time PlayStation 5 released, PlayStation 4 launched 7 years ago at $400. So you're talking about 7-year difference in terms of pay, in terms of wages, The console cycle of 4 to 5 years is no longer. It looks like console cycles will now be more 7-year based. So that's a long time in terms of wages and how people. Now, granted, not everybody's wages are going to go up. Some will, some don't. But just like normal, as the price drop, the console sales will go up. It only comes down to how fast Sony can drop the price. Usually within the first year, you don't see a price drop. You might see deals, especially during Black Friday and the holidays, but the first year you normally don't see price drop. The second year, so let's say console launched November 2020, November 2021 is still $500. November 2022, you might see the first legitimate price drop at $450. Not much of a big difference, $450 to $500, not big of a drop, but maybe Sony could do other things. Cheaper games, sales on controllers, PSN price sales. There might be other things that might entice. So while you're paying $450 for a console in 2021, you might get games that are $30, $20. You might get, 3 months or 6 months free PSN, things bundled to offset the cost, who knows? But $500 seems like the most likely scenario. So that's what I would try to tell you guys. Prepare for, the American price, US price of $599. I think Canada is always $100 more expensive, so $699. And then Europe with the euro, you'll probably have, 599 euro or, the appropriate monetary equivalent and stuff, right? But I think, did I say $599? $499. I'm sorry, $499. I said $599. $499. So I would say prepare because $499 seems like the most reasonable target, not $800. That's just asinine in itself. If Sony launches, I'll tell you right now. Let's say if Sony launches the PlayStation 5 for $799, it is done. Don't even bother. Unless you're the most hardest of the hardcore PlayStation fans and you don't care if the console survives beyond 2 years, it's DOA. It's done. There's really no way Sony could come back from that. It's just dead on arrival. At $800, just go PC. Upgrade your PC or use the $800 towards a new PC. But PlayStation 5, DOA at $800. $799, it's done. That's all I could say for that, Now, for my next point, okay? And I know a lot of you would drop $800, And you guys would, but understand you're investing in a console that's literally dead on arrival. It's not going to last you long. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't even imagine a PlayStation 5 generation when they launch an 800 console. It would be nothing but disaster every single day, every single month, just constant negative news, bad game sales, terrible MPD sales, terrible global sales. It would be so bad that, let's say MPD, right? If PlayStation launched, maybe the first month it will do good because that's all hardcore media, YouTube enthusiasts, stuff like that. They're the ones primarily buying it, right? But after 2-3 months, don't be surprised if Xbox One outsells the PlayStation 5. That's how bad. It would literally be like the last worst selling platform at MPD month after month after month. It would be a disaster for that console. Vedger, 50, thank you so much. 50 sec. So I'm thinking you're from Sweden or Norway. No, Norway is Chrome, so maybe Sweden. 800 is a joke. 500 to 600 is possible if you have the content. The demand will be there. Just watch on PS3 in the end of that generation. I would say 500 is definitely possible. 600, Sony's Sony's treading that line. It will not sell fast. And I think they will put themselves in a hurt locker launching a console at $600. My advice, if it's between $500 to $600, Sony should steer towards a $500 mark by the $600. And if that means they have to take an extra $100 and eat up the loss, eat up the loss. Because the one thing that's the $100 per loss is more recoverable in terms of game sales, PlayStation Plus, digital content, all that stuff. They can make it up. They can make up $100 loss, right? But the negative feedback of selling a $600 is much harder because you're going to get a lot of people saying it's not worth $600. It's too expensive. The actual content will be criticized more. At $600, people are going to expect God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man level games at launch. If you're going to sell a console $600, you better have those big games at launch. You better have Horizon Zero Dawn 2 at launch. Then you better have the next God of War at launch. You better have the next Spider-Man at launch. You better bring out the very best games. The Last of Us 3, that better be at launch. All the biggest games better be at launch if you expect people to drop $600. Don't bring Knack 3. No. That ain't the answer. You launch a $600 console or more, don't launch with Knack 3. And I'm sorry, as much as I like baseball, MLB ain't it either. Those games aren't the answers. You would have to push out the biggest games up front, and you would have to get the biggest third-party titles and try to make them exclusives. Like the next Grand Theft Auto, right? You would have to announce Grand Theft Auto 6 timed exclusives for 2 years. Which is not going to happen, obviously. That never happened. But that's what you have to do. You want people to pay $600 for a PlayStation or more? GTA 6, the only place to play it for a solid 2 years. Some people are not going to wait 2 years to play GTA 6. But that's not going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? P-Rock, you see the Yankees trade? Yeah, Encarnacion? It's crazy. All right? $500 probably the most legit, reasonable expectation, which is a balance of decent price, but with PlayStation going all out, right? So we'll leave it at that. Michael Patcher, I'll be honest, I don't know why he does this because that's actually his job. His job is to analyze. He's an analyst. That's what he's supposed to do. He analyzed for Webb Morgan Bush, right? This is what he's supposed to do. So if he's trolling, why would you blur the lines of trolling with your profession? Weird. Tavion Parrish, people want next-gen products but don't want to pay. There's a balance. Because remember, this is console gaming. This is not PC gaming. So they want next-gen, but not at the point where you're now charting into PC territory. Because at $800, you're in PC territory in terms of cost. And if that's the case, you might as well get PC. You know what I mean? Consoles have always been the balance of next-generation performance with a decent price. You know what I'm saying? But I get your point, but Sony can't go overboard, because remember, at the end of the day, it's still just a console. And that's all you're really going to do on the console is play games, So there's got to be a balance with that, right? Patcher, I don't know. I just can't see you working as an analyst and you're willing to do things like this, But anyway, we'll go on to the next, and this is the part that I really want to talk about. This to me is more important than actually talking about the price of the PS4 or the PlayStation 5, especially when it's legitimately not true, right? Nintendo proves exclusives matter, right? Now, of course, I could say PlayStation, but then, of course, a lot of people in the audience would just say, oh, you're a PlayStation fanboy, you hate Xbox. They're going to say all that nonsense, right? And I could talk about this topic on Twitter, but let's be honest, 75% of the people on Twitter don't know how to read, or their reading comprehension sucks. That's one thing that's why most of the time I don't try to create constant serious discussions on Twitter. Most of there's a few I do once in a while, but most of it not really, because for some reason a lot of people can't read on Twitter. The comprehension sucks. I make a point and people argue my tweet in a manner that has nothing to do with my tweet at all. And I look at the reply, be like, how the fuck did this guy come up with that? Like, that has nothing to do with my tweet. That's not what I'm saying, you know? And then it just gets derailed. So actual conversations on Twitter, it is what it is. I prefer this platform. I prefer live podcasts, you know, and especially a lot of people on Twitter, they hide behind soccer accounts and stuff. So it is what it is, okay? But Nintendo proves exclusives matter, okay? When you look at this past E3, in my opinion, Nintendo did exactly what it's supposed to do as far as a Nintendo E3 press conference or, you know, their treehouse streaming thing, right? They actually did what they're supposed to do. They cater to the platform and to the audience that supports the platform, all right? Notice Nintendo showed tons of exclusives at E3, right? New titles, Luigi Mansion. They talk about Damon versus Ex Machina. They talk about all that stuff, right? They talk about exclusive content to their platform with characters going to Super Smash Brothers, right? And the Nintendo audience is happy. Now, this is an argument about who had the best E3 or not. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the Nintendo audience, the Nintendo fans, the people who went out and bought the Switch for $300 because Nintendo told them this is the best play, this is the place to play our content. They cater to them. Now, some of you, a lot of you, whatever, may not like the content from E3. You may not rock with it, may not be your thing, right? But the content caters to the people who bought the Switch and who are planning to buy the Switch. There's a lot of people now that are going to buy the Switch because of the content they saw, right? So why are they buying the Switch? Because of the games. People aren't, you know, so of course people like the portability and stuff like that. But the main reason people are buying the Nintendo Switch is because of the games. They see the games and they're like, I got to play the games. Those games look great. I'm going to get me a Switch. That's how console gaming should be. You know, I'm an advocate for exclusives, not because of fanboy console war. That's what you hear on Twitter. That's what these Xbox fanboys, that's the narrative they push, you know. But the reality is, you know, these consoles that have exclusives, everybody has access to them because all you got to do is get the platform. It's not hard to get the platform that has the games. I rather see what Nintendo's doing, which is them arguing Nintendo is a better platform for gaming because of the games. Even the Nintendo community, right? Nintendo community, they're not arguing Nintendo Switch is the best platform this gen because of third-party multiplats. In fact, they don't get majority of the third-party multiplats that PlayStation and Xbox get, and PC, obviously, right? They don't get that. But they still feel the platform is the best because of all the amount of games and exclusives that Nintendo tries to create for the platform, whether they create it themselves or they go out and get third party to make exclusives for the platform. And a lot of Switch owners feel Switch is the best console, is the best hybrid, whatever, is the best gaming device. Better than PlayStation, better than Xbox. Now, I'm not here to argue that they're wrong or they're right. It's the actual thought that they can make this argument, and it's because Nintendo Switch has exclusives. You know, Nintendo is constantly trying to make the very best games that they can possibly can. And the counter to that, let's say from Sony's side, is they have to try to make the very best possible games they can. You know, as far as Xbox, it's already done deal because they already went multi-platform. They're going to put their games on PC. And again, the philosophy is going to expand. It's going to be broader. So Microsoft's now all into the exclusive battle. You know, hell, they talk about PC more than anything, right? But that's the reason why I like exclusives. Because when you think about it, when you have all these devices and they try to one up each other on the merit of the games that they make, you're talking about companies that are trying to make the very best games possible. So how is that a negative for us gamers? The company's competition Their competition results in quality products that we can get access to. And the only thing that is required from us to enjoy that content is just simply by the platform. And a lot of these platforms are cheap. You could get a PlayStation for $200. You could get an Xbox for $200. Switch, I think, is still was what, $300 now, $250. Great deals. They're really not that expensive to jump in and get the platforms and play these amazing titles. The problem is, this is the problem with the narrative about exclusives anti-consumer. I'll start with the PC gamers. Now, the PC gamers, I can see why they hate exclusives, because their platform is not tied to a specific publisher. It's not tied to a company, who controls the platform. It's an open platform, and you can build your PC with various components and parts made by different companies, right? So when you have these companies that make consoles, right, and they make games for specifically those consoles, PC gamers don't have access to those games. Therefore, their only option is to get the console. Now, the reason why a lot of PC gamers or some PC gamers have an issue with that is because the console doesn't deliver what they want out of a gaming platform. Again, PCs are a very open gaming platform, and they have a lot of control over things that you can't do on console. They could adjust the settings to get the best frame rates, or they could buy the right components to get the best graphics. They could get native 4K. They can mod their games. They get patches. They can create their own patches, textures packs. They can do a lot to these games that they get on PC as compared to what a console gamer can do on a console, And it's that freedom that the platform provides that I can see why PC gamers are anti-exclusive. Because that means they have to play on a platform that is not equivalent in terms of the freedom that they have for PC. So I can understand them. PC gamers, I can understand why you don't like exclusives, because you can't play on the platform you prefer, because the platform you prefer has so many more advantages and freedoms that consoles simply do not have. Got it. Okay. That I get. But Xbox gamers, that I don't get. You understand? Because in the beginning of this gen, Xbox gamers were all about the exclusives. That was the reason why they picked the Xbox One in 2013, 2014, 2015. Remember, Titanfall, not on PlayStation. Sunset Overdrive, Rise, Dead Rising 4, Forza Horizon, Halo, Master Chief Collection. It was all about the games. It was all about the exclusives. That was the choice of why they picked Xbox. Over time, Microsoft flipped the script, completely new strategy, games everywhere, right? Xbox gamers try to compensate by saying, well, it's only Microsoft platform because it's a Microsoft OS and they're only going to sell it in the Microsoft store. So technically, they're still exclusives because you still have to go through Microsoft. Why would they come up with that damage control? I don't know. Because at the end of the day, even with that logic, the game is still not exclusive to the console. It's available somewhere else, but they try to compensate, right? But now, once again, Microsoft said, no, we're going to put games outside of the Microsoft store. All games will go to Steam. And they're currently talking to other client holders to put their games there. So you're talking Origin, GOG, Epic Game Store. The new Minecraft is on PlayStation Switch day one. The damage control is, Minecraft's always been multiplayer. The original Minecraft game was multiplayer before Microsoft purchased Mojang. But this is Minecraft Dungeon. This is not an expansion pack or anything. This is his own unique new IP of the Minecraft universe, of the Minecraft title and name, but it's a new IP. It's similar to let's say like Luigi's Mansion or something. Sure, Luigi's part of the Mario series, but it's its own unique game. Minecraft Dungeon is its own unique game, and it's day one on PlayStation. That's the first step. You don't think if Minecraft Dungeons sell better on PlayStation than it does on Xbox, you don't think Microsoft, the suits, not Satya, Nadella, you don't think they don't see those numbers and be like, man, PlayStation gamers are out buying Xbox One gamers. They buy more games than our own guys do. They might want to consider putting more games on the PlayStation platform if the sales are there. You think Microsoft is hurting by having Minecraft on PlayStation? It's not. Think about it. They put a brand new IP Minecraft in the Minecraft universe on a console that has 90 plus million sales. That's not a negative. Microsoft doesn't see that as a negative, especially when selling consoles, and they're telling you all the time, console sales is not their metric. Phil Spencer straight up told you. So you can't say, oh, they're not going to put games on PlayStation because they have to worry about console sales. They just already told you they're not worried about console sales. They already told you that. Right? Nintendo, on the other hand, you don't hear them say stuff like that. You saw their E3. The important part is the Switch distinguishes itself and separates itself from the PlayStation brand. Nintendo isn't simply, it's just another device that plays games. It has its own unique identity, its own unique content, right? And Nintendo is truly listening to their fan base. And the best part it doesn't exclude anybody else. Any one of us can easily buy a Switch. You understand? If you choose not to get it, then it's a choice. But nobody is locked out from jumping in and enjoying the content by buying a platform. My man Edge says, first time watching live. Appreciate it. Welcome aboard and stuff. A lot of gamers in social media are giving Nintendo the win for E3. Right? Whether you agree or not, the fact that the conversation is there, and I'll be honest, it would probably be difficult to challenge them. Because if you look at Nintendo's E3, it literally is what an E3 is supposed to be by the console provider, by the first party publisher. If you're going to call it Nintendo E3 event, then it should be about Nintendo and not about what games are being played across all devices. Same thing. If Sony has a E3 press conference, which I think they'll be back next year, what makes it a Sony PlayStation E3 press conference? Don't tell me about games that are available. Granted, multiplats are fine. Lots of multiplats are great. Yeah, you're going to show a little. Cool. I always thought if Sony's going to show a multiplat, what's in it for me as a PlayStation owner besides it being on PlayStation? For example, like Call of Duty, right? They show Call of Duty. Well, everybody can play Call of Duty, right? So why is it on the PlayStation stage? Play the maps first, 30 days. These are the maps, or Destiny, exclusive 1 year content. Okay, now I get it. This is why you have the multiplats on stage, because there's extra stuff on the PlayStation platform that nobody else has. Got it. Makes sense. And I think everybody could agree on that. Right? I think everybody could agree on that. Shout out to Big Cloud Gaming. Shout out to Joseph. What's up? So many people. Thank you so much for rocking out with me. All right. E3 in the past was like that for Microsoft, for Xbox. They show stuff, but it was specific. Like, I'll give you one example. 2006 E3, when Microsoft showed Grand Theft Auto 4 for Xbox. Well, the game's coming to PlayStation as well. And I think it went to PC, or maybe went to PC later on. But everybody knew Grand Theft Auto is a multiplat. Hell, it's more closely tied to PlayStation than any other platform, right? Because Grand Theft Auto has been on the PlayStation brand going back to the PlayStation 1. It's always been a PlayStation game, right? So why is it on the Microsoft stage? What makes it so special to see it on the Microsoft stage? Well, the answer, Peter Moore announced that 2 exclusive downloadable content will only be available on a 360. Now, eventually became timed exclusives, like after 2 years. You had to wait like 2 years to get on PlayStation. But that's something that the 360 fans saw separate from what PS3 gamers got. So PS3 gamers, when the game launched, it was both on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. But the Xbox 360 gamers got 2 new contents. What is it? The Lost DLC something, and then the Ballad of Gay Tony. PlayStation gamers didn't get that for like 2 years. Does that make sense? You see what I'm talking about? That's what makes That's what made an Xbox E3 an actual Xbox E3. The content to the audience. It catered to the Xbox audience. It wasn't just simply, oh, look, Cyberpunk with Keanu Reeves. Cool. But what's the so what behind showing Cyberpunk at E3 on the Xbox stage? Answer, really nothing. If they would announce, play the first DLC or play the first expansion pack first on Xbox or exclusive to Xbox or timed exclusive to Xbox for 1 year. Okay, that's the so what. That's why it's on the E3 stage. That's why it's on the Xbox stage. Something for that audience. It's not just simply a game everyone's going to end up playing. That's how E3 should be for all of them, for Nintendo, for Xbox, for PlayStation. But we all know for Xbox, it's done because Xbox not even a console anymore. It's a brand. And the actual console is just a device that falls under the brand, among other devices, namely PC. Then eventually with xCloud, you're going to have tablets and phones. And then again, eventually, more expansion, more devices. Sony and Nintendo are the only two, especially if Sony comes back at E3, that will have that E3 specific. But again, that's what I want to see from Sony. Don't just put a multiplat up there and be like, oh, look, multiplat. Like they did with Control. They announced Control last E3, but I don't remember them saying anything specific to the PlayStation. Now we learned there's some PlayStation specific stuff, right? Now we learned some PlayStation specific stuff, but they should have done that on stage. Have exclusive maps, exclusive DLC on PlayStation. Okay, that's the so what. Now I see why you put this third-party multiplat on the PlayStation stage. Because when we see these E3 conferences, a Nintendo conference or stream, whatever, Sony, PlayStation E3 conference, and Xbox, we're gearing towards the specific platform. That's what they're all about. Vedger again with the Sec 109. Thank you for the super chat. He says, funny or sad thing is that Sony's first party studios has to compete against each other in their games because Xbox and Microsoft is too pro-consumer with dollar games at Game Pass. Great show, Pre-Rock. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's one thing I like about Sony's first party because they do have these little inter-wars between each other because they want to be the top dog of Sony first party. Because in general, Sony's first party, especially this gen, got a lot of credit. They got a lot of notoriety. They become, when you see Sony Computer Entertainment Presents, that screen right there is a big deal for a lot of gamers now. They really notched up with the quality content. So now within the studios, these studios, they want to be the best. Obviously, arguably the two best studios, Naughty Dog, followed behind Santa Monica. Santa Monica, they raised up their stock value, right? With God of War. Cory Barlog rose up in stock value. And I give props to Guerrilla. Guerrilla also shot up. With Horizon Zero Dawn, they're up there. I like the fact that they recognize the quality each other bring. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. I wish Sony Ben fared better with Days Gone, but that's a conversation for another day. Once I beat this game, we'll talk about that. All right. Game Pass. When Game Pass was introduced, the biggest fear I had, he did. He really didn't. Let's see, Patrick really didn't predict $800. Man, Emperor out here keeping for Patrick. He loves Patrick anyway. Two Nintendo fanboys. Nah, shout out to Emperor, man. Game Pass. When Game Pass first announced, is great value, right? But my biggest fear for Game Pass was that because it's starting up and it's cheap, Microsoft's been giving this thing away for $1 for a long time, and then it's only $10 a month, that Microsoft will flood this service with, I don't want to use the word low quality, but a lot of their new projects won't be big, new AAA titles. It's going to be a lot of AA's and a lot of indies. Because right now, Game Pass cannot support a lot of big AAA titles. Now, Microsoft already has big AAA titles by birth. Gears of War was born as a big AAA title. Halo, born as a big AAA title. Forza, born as a big AAA title. I think Fable, since it was born as a big AAA title, it's going to be a big AAA title, okay? So all of that stuff, it is what it is. And so they will stay that way. But all the new titles, Microsoft has to balance how much money these games are going to cost in development based off the revenue of Game Pass. Because they're not going to create 2, 3, 4 big $200 million games, right? They're not going to spend $500 million in a couple of big games just to give it away for $1 or $10 a month. I mean, think about it. Imagine Spider-Man, right? Imagine, let's take Spider-Man, right? Huge, big budget game, right? In the first 3 months, it sold 10 million. So and they didn't get a price drop. So 10 million at $60 a pop, you're talking about $600 million. And that's not even including the special collector's edition, which costs like $70 and stuff like that. $80. We're just straight up saying $60. So $600 million. Imagine if the game was available for only $1. You know how many millions of people would not have paid $60, only paid $1? You know how much the revenue loss that Spider-Man would have had? Now, let me stop some of y'all. I'm not advocating, or some of you might go and be like, oh, why are you worried about the company's money, Puertorock? $1 for a game, that's good for the consumers. Why are you siding with the companies? It's not me siding with the companies, but you have to recognize if the companies know that big budget AAA games can easily be accessed for $1 or $10 a month, to which reality, what people do is sign up for Xbox Live or sign up for this service, pay $10, play the game, and then cut the service. Then guess what? They're not going to invest in these big games because they know gamers are going to get it for only $10. They're not going to make a big blockbuster game just for it to be sold for $10. They're not going to do that. And as you can see, that is what Microsoft is doing. They're releasing more and more these AA and indie type games, right? And filling up Game Pass. Xbox, what is it? Xbox ID. You saw Battletoads. 2D cartoony game. I'm sorry to say, when Battletoads was first announced, a lot of people were thinking it might be at least a big AA budget game. A big AA game, right? Maybe not AAA, but a big AA game, you know? Something, a nice work, right? It's an indie cartoon game, which in and of itself is not bad, but I know a lot of people didn't expect that, right? But you have to look. It's going to be played for $1. For some people, it's only going to be played for $10, you know? And some people, you know, if you truly finesse the system, you would wait until the big games come out. Like, for example, Gears of War 5 comes out September, right? Well, I think Battletoads is next year or whatever. But you would wait until 2 or 3 games are released in the same time window. That way you pay your $10 and now you have 30 days to beat this game and beat that game and beat this game. And now when your 30 days up, you don't renew it. But you got the games that you want to play for only $10. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to look at. You have to look at it that way. Microsoft, sure, you're going to get your Halo, you're going to get your Gears, you're going to get your Forza. I think you're going to get Fable. You might get one more big AAA title from the initiative, right? But don't think you're going to get 8 or 9 big AAA titles. Game Pass cannot support that. Gamers are only going to play these games for $10, you know? Or they're going to try to find a finesse. They're going to try to finesse the system for like $1. You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality. So Microsoft is not stupid. They're not dumb. They know what gamers are doing. You know what I'm saying? They know gamers. They know gamers are going to finesse the system. So they're going to protect their own investment, you know? This is why I'm not too keen about Sony having this system. Because if Sony created a Game Pass type system, even though PlayStation Now, you can direct. So technically, Sony does have their own direct system. PlayStation Now, you can directly install all PlayStation 4 games. So that's Game Pass. The only difference is they have yet to put new games day and date. A lot of the games that are PlayStation 4 on PS Now that you can directly download are older games that's been out for 2-3 years, like Bloodborne. That thing's been out since 2015. It's almost 4 years old. Okay, fine. So anybody that decides to play Bloodborne for $15, okay, hell, that's how much the game probably costs now if you try to buy it in a store. Probably costs $15 to $10. You understand what I'm saying? This is why I don't think Sony's going to put their games day and date on PS Now, because you can directly install, which means, let's say if you put Horizon Zero Dawn 2 day and date on PS Now, you could play Horizon Zero Dawn 2 for $15 day and date. I don't think Sony's going to do that. Does that make sense? And I don't mind paying for quality. I don't mind paying $60 for a game. Okay. It seems like now some gamers feel games ain't worth $60, that they're worth only $1 or they're worth only $10 a month. That's crazy. That's insane. You're going to tell me God of War on launch day is only worth $10? Come on, bro. Like, let's be realistic. The budgets to these games are expensive. The amount of hours the developers put to these games are a lot. Many of them work 7 days a week at 14 hours a day and more. Some just stay in the office and sleep. And you're telling me that paying a game for $60 isn't worth it? Look at movies. Movies, they film a movie in 9 months. They could film a movie anywhere between 9 to 14 months. 9 to 14 months. Right? And they send it to the theater, to which, sure, the movie itself, depending where you go, is anywhere from $7 up to $22. Like if you go to IMAX or whatever, right? An average movie's anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then the food, which is the most expensive part of the whole theater experience, is like $8 for a cup of soda and $9 for popcorn. You could go into the movie theater. Let's say if it's you and a date, you could spend almost $60 going to a movie theater for a movie that's only an hour and a half and buying gourmet expensive ass popcorn. But yet a game which has considerable, much more amount of content, even a single player, look at God of War, right? Much more content to enjoy, much more interactive, right? And people ain't willing to pay $60? I mean, granted, the game has to be quality, of course. So let's say like Anthem, not worth $60. Okay. But when I'm talking about the general sense of gaming, AAA console gaming is worth $60. Now within the console gaming, it comes down to the games you want to play. One game may not be worth $60 because it sucks. It's trash, bad quality, not enough content as compared to other games, So it's just weird with that, okay? But we'll leave it at that. Exclusives matter. But it just seems like right now, exclusives is going to be between Nintendo and Sony. And we'll see how Sony goes in the future with this PS Now. And we'll see. We'll just leave that for another conversation. I ain't going to comment much on it. We need to wait to see and have Sony push more information. The final part of this segment, all right, that I want to talk about. It seems like now every single day there's a conversation of, oh, news. PlayStation 5 is more powerful than Xbox Scarlet. Then the next day, oh no, new news. Xbox Scarlet is actually more powerful than PlayStation 5. And it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. These insiders, these hardware predictions based on insider prediction is the most asinine and dumbest thing ever heard. All right. If you guys have paid attention on Twitter and all this stuff, look at the insiders. Go to their YouTube channels. Look at their videos. They make a bunch of PS5 spec prediction, Xbox Scarlet prediction, or insider leak. Constant leaks every other time of what's going to be in the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet. And each video has different configurations of hardware. Like you look at all 10 videos, with every other video that they make, it's a new configuration. Oh no, now rumor has it is this. Oh wait, now rumor has it is that. Oh wait, Navi 10. Oh no, Navi 20. Oh wait, RDNA and all this weird shit, right? Let's look at some facts. Let's look at some realities about manufacturing. All right. Right now, Sony and Microsoft are planning Microsoft officially unveiled holiday 2020. So the console is coming most likely this November. PlayStation, most likely, Sony's going to do the same thing. All right. November 2020, maybe October, those 2 months. But it's coming 2020. What does that mean? That means the consoles, right? The meat and potatoes of the platform is done. It's been done. It's been done for months. The CPU and the GPU, done. It's already set in stone what they're going to use, right? The only thing that could easily be modified is maybe overclocking it and the RAM. So now Puertorock's like, oh, wait a minute, Puertorock. Are you trying to say you got inside sources? You got inside leak? How you know it's done? It has anything to do with inside leaks. Like that. I don't have no inside leak. I have no inside leak. I wish I did. Real inside leaks, but I ain't got none. Right? But what I do know is something that kind of relates to my job in the military, because I'm in communications. It's something called logistics. The things these companies have to do to get their console ready for November launch. And logistics, the limit of what you can do or the things you can do to launch a console in November is limited by the amount of logistics you have to do. So what are some of the things you have to do? Can anybody guess? Right? I'll name you one thing. Something you have to do, right? The one thing Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, they all have to do is get their products, electronics products, certified by some government agency. Like in the US, it's FCC. If FCC don't approve the PlayStation 5, Sony can't sell it. Europe has stands for CE, but it's organization similar to FCC. Asia has also, you understand? These organizations double check to ensure that the product don't interfere with other products and it stays within the standards and the codes that the government agency set for their region. You have to get FCC approval, which means you need to send the product to the FCC. And then the FCC will test it, do all this stuff. In America, 3 months. They could get FCC approval in 3 months. So Sony has to plan to provide this product and leave it in the hands for the FCC approval for 3 months. Once FCC approves it for 3 months, Sony now greenlights mass manufacturing. Sony is not going to greenlight mass manufacturing until they get the approvals. Because if they greenlight mass manufacturing and any of the government agency says, hey, this product is not up to code, you can't sell this. That means every console they manufactured failed. You know how much money and loss of revenue that is? And waste of time? They can't. They need FCC approval. And also the other government agencies. Before the approval, guess what that means? Sony has to do quality control. And that's months, maybe even a year. So they have the spec, they build it together, and they just quality control it, right? Not only do they need the guts and the motherboard, that stuff built, they have to design the casing. The casing has to be designed. How the PlayStation 5 is going to look, they can't wait till the last minute to be like, all right, this is how the casing looks. Because that's all part of the manufacturing process, right? The initial prototype of how it gets built is going to be the schematic and the specs for mass production. So they have to get that right as well. And each of the components, they have to coordinate with other companies because the nuts, the bolts, Sony don't make nuts and bolts themselves. They pay other people. They pay mass production for the nuts and bolts. The heatsink, all those little things, that's coordination with other companies. Logistics, people. These companies can't go last minute and be like, oh, we're going to wait till E3 2020 and we're going to see what Microsoft announced. Oh, Microsoft announced 10 teraflops. Oh, we're doing 12. Start building the PlayStation 4. We'll launch it in 3 months. No. The consoles are pretty much done. There is no daily shift of what these consoles are. The logistics won't allow them to do that. They can't go, I think at this point, they can't really go, yeah, we're going to change our mind with this Navi GPU. we're going to go for this Javi GPU. It's pretty much too late. Right now, they're focusing on the quality control, ensuring these consoles are compliant with dozens of agencies, which each of them have their own standards. Because American standards, the FCC, is different than Canadian standards, which is different than South America, different than Europe, Asia, South, Africa, like Middle East. Everybody's having their own different variations and standards. And Sony, Microsoft, they have to meet all of them. They don't have a lot of time for that. So all these content shift. Oh, now we heard that PlayStation is this now. No, it's not. It's pretty much done. Sure, they're tweaking. See how much they can cycle, how much clock power they could push. Is it overheating? All right, turn the clock cycles down. How the games look with this amount of RAMs. We'll start with 8 gigs. Add 12 gigs. Add 16 gigs. Okay. How does the OS RAM? Those things they can change up to a certain point. But the core, the CPU and the GPU is pretty much decided what they're going to do. It's already done. I think my point, that's already done deal. Everything else now is optimization and customization. The 3D audio, the SSD, that's what they're working on. They are heavy, knee deep in QCing, because I would say by January, February, these consoles are going to be in the hands of the FCC and the other agencies throughout the world. They're going to have that actual unit that's going to be sold in stores. So you figure, let's say Sony delivers it in January. So now they need 90 days, right? FCC's 90 days. So that means January counts, February, March. By the end of March, beginning of April, FCC will give their approval. They'll say, yep, Ominous Dominus, this console's good to go. You can sell it. Other countries are longer, some are shorter. But let's say by April, every agency in the world gives the thumbs up. So guess what? Starting April, mass manufacturing, right? They'll start working with vendors, retailers. How many units you want? How many units you want? Well, Amazon be like, oh, we want 3 million units. So I might be like, whoa, our yield output might only be 1 million. So you'll get 300,000 units. That's all logistics. When they're going to deliver it, contracting the trucks, the companies, the airlines, all that shit all around the world. Logistics, delivering it to the warehouse. The contract agreements between Amazon, between Best Buy, between every other electronic store throughout the world. That's logistics. People don't consider the logistics behind releasing a console. It's more than that. Advertisements, the commercials, and not only that, them stupid sweepstakes, Taco Bell, social media influencers. There's a ton of logistics that Sony and Microsoft have to do to get these consoles out. They really don't have a lot of time. To us gamers, it may seem like that because none of us really thought about the logistics. A lot of people just think, build a console, sell the console. Oh, yeah, I have plenty of time. No, they don't. There's a lot of stuff before, during, and after. They're boxed in with the logistics, right? And that's what I'm push. So all this, who's powerful, just wait until the reveal. By June 2020, we're going to get true and factual information on these consoles. We'll see what it is. And however this gen plays out. But the one truth remains. It will always be about the games. To me, both consoles are trying to push great power and performance and new concepts to push game further. But I think both consoles are within the realms that makes third-party developers happy. And I think they're going to make their own first-party developer happy. And that's what matters in terms of power. But for us, what games are you developing based on this power? What are the new concepts, the new IPs, the new ideas? That's what's important, right? And we won't see more information until, I would say, E3. Maybe Sony do their own thing. Maybe Sony will do an early show like they did with the PlayStation 4. They had like a PlayStation 4 reveal in February of 2013. They might do the same. Who knows? But with that, I'm going to cut this live stream short. Well, not short, but I'm going to cut it off so that way I could get back into gaming. Thank you so much for rocking out with me. I hope, this live stream was informative and stuff like that. But anyway, check me out next time. Man, when's the next time I'll come on? Probably not for a while because I'll be gone Thursday. I'll see if I could do something before Thursday, between Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right, at least push out a video and stuff like that. Because after that, I'm gonna be in Italy for 10 days, and I'm gonna be chilling. Me and my wife, we're gonna have a ball. But anyway, for everybody else, I hope you enjoy your weekend. Once again, happy Father's Day out there. All right, I hope you enjoy your day. Keep it gaming, and once again, I'm your only friend in these YouTube streets. All right, you guys take care. Thanks for rocking out. All right, you guys have a good one. Peace.